Buenas tardes, profe. Me da unos 5 minutos, esperamos 5 minutos que si alguien se conecta y damos inicio a la clase. Ok.
Listo.
Voy, teacher.
Ok.
Ok, buenas tardes a todos. Sean bienvenidos a una sesión más de Interpretación Simultánea 2, dirigido por el profesor Jezreel Vega. Para el buen desarrollo de esta sesión, les pedimos seguir las siguientes recomendaciones. Algunos de los parámetros de la sesión es por videoconferencia. Las sesiones se graban. Pueden verlas nuevamente en la plataforma virtual. Les solicitamos que por favor silencien sus micrófonos y puedan activarlos cuando quieran hacer consultas o aportes con el permiso del docente. Les pedimos que mantengan su cámara activa. De no poder hacerlo, enviar su excusa por el chat de Zoom. De lo contrario, será retirado de la sesión y les serán restado puntos en la heterovaloración del docente. Mi rol como moderador es facilitar y apoyar a la parte técnica. Consultas por el chat personal o general. Les exhorto a tener bolígrafo y papel para hacer sus anotaciones y aprovechar al máximo esta sesión. Esta sesión tiene un tiempo de duración de 120 minutos. Buenas tardes, profe. Sea bienvenido.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Isabel. Okay, I hope everybody's doing well. Everybody's having a good evening or not, or good afternoon or good morning. I don't know what time you're watching this. Um, but I hope you are doing very well because I know that we have been doing a lot of things, but just to let you know, um, this is like the one of the last classes because if you notice, we have um, like 3 classes left. Okay, so we need to start working a lot. Okay, so I'm going to ask you that if you have any question, and for any reason you can connect here in the platform every day, every Wednesday. Please, if you have any question or any doubt, please you can ask me, and I will answer you any question that you have. Okay. So knowing this, just to let you know, just to start the class, I'm going to give you a review about what we're talking in the last class. Short review actually, because I know that we need to start doing a lot of things. So in the last class, we started working with the model number 4. Okay. So in the model number 4, we start working with business and corporate events. Okay. So what we talked in the last class that was that for us as interpreters, everybody who interpret in English needs to understand that in one case, in one moment, someone will call you and you will have to interpret in a meeting, in a business meeting, or in a corporate event. And I know that maybe for you, if you haven't received that call, you could say, "But teacher, I don't know, I don't think so." But there is an importance that you need to have at that moment, because as an interpreter, you need to have some experience and some knowledge about all the information that you will work. Okay. So remember, as I said, if you have any question, don't doubt and ask. Okay, so please let's watch this
My
video
name is
again.
Sabina. I'm an interpreter and I speak English and Russian. For somebody thinking to become an interpreter, I would say make a habit of reading the news every day. I know it can be depressing sometimes, but it always helps to know what's going on in the world and what's going on locally in your community, in your country, on your continent, because you never know what's going to come up in your interpreting assignment. I had clients talking about Harry Potter during my court interpreting assignments, and I had clients discussing politics during a very formal networking event that I was interpreting. So I would say number one tip is read, and make newspapers, Financial Times, The Economist, Time, become your best friends. How I prepare for an assignment, I would say, well, in addition to common knowledge, build a glossary and read about the subject matter and listen to previous speakers on the subject. There is a wealth of information on YouTube. I would say I would prepare for an assignment also mentally. First of all, get a good night's sleep. And secondly, I would say just maybe center yourself. If you are a fan of meditation, meditate, do a bit of yoga, have a walk in the park, whatever rocks your boat, because as interpreters we channel lots of information and we process information basically 4 times, as we hear it, as we speak it. So it's very important to take care of our mental health, because that improves the quality of our output, of our interpreting, and it also improves our quality of our life, I would say. Since becoming a member of a chartered institute, I would say that the institute gives me this amazing sense of community. I no longer feel, I would say, as this lone freelance interpreter who emerges out of her house every now and then in the middle of the night to go to be driven by police car to station to do interpreting. I would say that Chartered Institute gave me this sense of community, this ability or opportunity to interact with other interpreters, learn about other markets, other languages, and generally just to get out there and be very proactive in our work. The highlight of my career, I would say, well, to be fair, as a legal and court interpreter, 98% of my work is client privilege and highly confidential. So I only get a chance to talk about my work if I do some public talk or lecture, workshop. So in that regard, I would say the highlight of my career was interpreting for Irina Hakamada. She's a prominent Russian political activist, she's a journalist, she's a thinker, and I would say even a philosopher. And I remember reading about her. She was, in 2002, she was one of the first people to engage in negotiations with terrorists during Moscow theater hostage crisis. And she was also nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. And she was mentioned by Time magazine as one of the top 100 world famous women. And then suddenly I was on this stage in Winchester, England, next to her, interpreting, and how she was sharing her views on Russia and geopolitics and world situation. So that was remarkable.
Teacher, no se le escucha.
Okay. No se escuchó nada al principio. Hola.
El video se escuchó perfecto. Usted estaba hablando y lo que estaba diciendo no se me escuchó.
Okay, perfecto. Listo. Okay. So what I was saying in the meantime that my microphone was off, I was saying that here we were watching what are the characteristics that you as an interpreter you need to have. You know, you're working in a society, but it's in this case, we're talking about business. So in this case, you need to be or start a bridge between the individuals and groups. And remember, this is only about connecting people with different languages and cultural backgrounds. Okay? Now, one of the characteristics that I mentioned in the last class was that you need to develop a good or a perfect linguistic skills. For instance, you need to develop your fluency in multiple languages. I know that maybe for you, if you speak English, well, that's your strong part, but some linguistics, they recommend you as well, as long as you speak English or you speak another language, you start in this language area, and they recommend if you want to be proficient, you need to start learning or listening to different languages. For instance, if you speak Spanish, you can speak. I mean, you can hear also some conversations in Portuguese because you know we have some similarities between the English, I mean, the Spanish and the Portuguese, and you can continue. That's the thing. So the idea is just to start this practice. Now you need to also develop a good and a strong vocabulary. Okay, remember this is key just to have an accurate translation and also help people to understand what you're saying. Also, something that you need to have as a characteristic, it's the interpersonal skills. You need to have an active listening, empathy, and remember, you need to read the emotions when you are doing your job and intentions also. So it's more than important just to show empathy at the moment that you're doing this. Also remember the cultural awareness, the neutrality and impartiality, and professionalism. Now, in this case, in the video, she was talking about how you, as an interpreter, how you need to talk about this business area. Remember that you need to do the research, and it has to be a good research. Remember to check the terminologies and everything related to what you're going to talk. If you need to take notes, remember to take notes and try to develop your memory skills, okay? If there's something in your interpretation that maybe it's not in your hand, maybe what you need to try is just to find the information, okay? Also, one of the characteristics that you need to have and it's essential is to have a problem solving skills, okay? So every time that you start doing this job, believe me, you have to you have to expect the unexpected. And if there's any problem, you need to find a solution to that problem. Also, and this is the last one, you need to develop your technical skills. And well, in the one of the last classes, I explained you this. You need to have a knowledge related to the equipment or the softwares. Okay. So we have this concept. We explained this concept that we have these two: consecutive interpretation and simultaneous. And it's very important for you to understand that every moment, believe me, every single moment that a person speaks and someone doesn't understand what you are doing or what it's needing, or it's what people is needing, it's someone who can be a bridge. And in your case, you're the bridge, you're the connection. Okay. So for us, we need to understand that we have two main techniques that we can use at the moment that we do interpretation. Now, in business and in conquering events, it's more common. You can have the consecutive interpretation and simultaneous. These two are the main interpretations or techniques that people will use every single time. Okay? We'll explain what are the differences and similarities that we can find in this techniques. Because if you notice, every time that you speak, you interpret, the consecutive is not the same as the simultaneous, because you need different equipment, you need different timing and pace, you need different setting and context. If you remember in the previous class, not in the last one, in the previous, we talked what are the needs that you need to have if you're doing or if you're interpreting in the simultaneous technique. Okay. So these are the things that you need to be aware. Believe me, this is essential. If you see, for instance, and I gave you in the last class one story about one friend that I have. She was so stressed because the person that she was doing the interpretation was also stressed. So if you're stressed and the other person is stressed, believe me, you are not going to do anything positive. Okay? Everybody will be stressed, and that's not the point. Point is just to enjoy what you're doing. Okay? So, for instance, when we talk about time and space and pace, if you notice when you speak, when you talk, let's say that you're interpreting something in consecutive, remember, you need to have the time to listen and then interpret. But in the simultaneous, it is not in that way. You need to listen and interpret immediately. Equipment, it's different in consecutive. You just need to have a portable microphone or a small PA system, and that's it. But in the simultaneous, you need to have headphones, microphones, headsets, and ideal equipment. And remember the soundproof room. Also the setting and the context and the delay and interaction, okay? So in summary, we understand that everybody who's doing these techniques or who is using these techniques needs to understand that these techniques should be applied in the way that, well, it's explained. Now, if I ask you, how do you identify the consecutive? Well, because the word itself said it, consecutive. So you wait for the answer. You listen and you repeat what he was saying in the language that you need to interpret. But simultaneously, it's at the same time, and you're in a different place. That's another point, important point. Now, there are some things that you need to understand when you're preparing just to have this, and also develop a good strategy. Okay, you need to have a good preparation and familiarization. You need to establish a good rapport. You need to have you need to maintain neutrality, an active listening, real-time interpretation. So these are the strategies, and you in the meantime, when you have the time, just to read. You can read this and you can check all the meanings and the concepts that you can find in this descriptions. Because believe me, if you think or if you take this as something like it's nothing important, you're gonna make a mistake. For instance, if you're not paying attention to what the person is saying and you got confused, well, Mr. Sir, believe me, people will get angry and the speaker will get angry, and that's totally normal because you're not doing your job. Okay, so at least you need to start doing this 5 strategies. We have more. If there is something that is not clear, you can ask, what does that mean? Let me explain you. In the last class, I told you that every time that a person speaks in their foreign language, in their own language, there are some ambiguous and unclear terms. For instance, if the person speaks English or Spanish, oye, la botaste, lo hiciste muy pasado. The difference between interpretation and translation is that, interpretation is the speaking part, and translation is the written part. Written. So what does that mean? Well, that at the moment that you hear something and there's not an exact translation, you have to give that to what he said a meaning. Okay? Something else you need to manage is the multilingual communication. So, believe me, this facilitates smooth transitions between languages. Okay. Also, something that you need to develop is just to it's not like you have to develop the stress. Is that you need to manage your stress and pressure. If there's something that it's behind your back or under your back, or if you feel you feel the pressure, you can take your time. But believe me, every time that you work in this kind of activities as interpretation, you need to develop this ability to manage stress. Okay, so if you manage this stress, believe me that this contributes to have like a good good ideas, and also the negotiation process. Well, you will have it. Also, you need to have the cultural sensitivity. If there's anything related to the person that you're interpreting, well, you need to pay attention. If you see that the person is a religious person, pay attention. Something that maybe we as professionals, we need to be clear is that our dress code is important. Even though we have a lot of information around saying that, well, the way that you dress is not important. And it's because of the quality of the quality of the things that you can give. Well, let me tell you that people will give you the attention that you have or that you want, depending on the way that you dress. So, in these cases, that you have to negotiate or give small ideas or well, just to interpret. You need to have a good dress, something good to dress. Okay, and at the end we'll have to do a debriefing. What is this? Well, everybody needs to be assured what's said. It's understood, and if everybody got to the conclusion that well everybody understands. So if we said that we agree to giving more to this company, well, everybody needs to understand that well we said that. Now, in conclusion, that we said in here is that what we're looking here is just to develop your communication skills. And we know that these skills helps you to create an environment conducive to effective and productive discussions. Let me tell you something about, well, it's not a story, but it's something that that I watched in the last week. I was watching one video that was about a victim or some victims, because it was more than two. They were saying that they were persuaded by a person, and this person well, he violated him in a horrible way. But the thing is that at the moment that this happened, in the court or on the court, they had their interpreters because they belong to Mexico. But something very good that I watched in this documentary was that they were very close to them. So that means that at the moment that you have, well, I don't know, maybe in the future, you can be close to someone, or you can be the one who interprets. Okay, so you need to be careful and be prepared. You could say that, well, right now you don't have anything related to this, but in the future, you will have it. Okay, so this was the class, the last class. There was model number 4. Now we're going to start with the model number 5. Sorry, model number 4, part 2. Model number 4, part 2. Okay, so as I said, this is model number 2. I mean, model number 4, part 2. So this is the importance, or we're going to talk about the importance of interpreters in business and corporate events. This will be a continue of what we're talking, okay? So right now I want you to pay attention to this video.
My name is Chen Ji.
So please
Oh.
pay attention to what we're gonna watch, okay?
My name is Chen Ji, or Ji Chen in Chinese. I'm a staff interpreter for the United Nations at its headquarters in New York. I work between two languages, my mother tongue Chinese and my second language English. I've been working for the UN since 2015, and prior to that I was a freelance interpreter servicing the specialized agencies of the UN based in Geneva. As a staff interpreter for the UN, we provide simultaneous interpretation service for UN meetings, conferences, and other events. An interpreter is first and foremost a linguist. He or she should have heightened linguistic sensitivity. And it goes without saying that they should have solid language skills in both the source and target languages. We need to show our passion for our profession, because without passion it's a boring commitment. But with passion, we can have a pleasure that provides the drive for our work. If I were to find an adjective to describe myself, the word would be wholehearted, and that's what I go by in my daily work. Interpretation is a job, it's a discipline, it's an art, but most importantly, it's also a pleasure to be enjoyed. So enjoy it.
Okay, very good. Very good.
My name is Chen Ji.
So we were watching this video about Chen Ji. He was talking about how he worked in this particular place, which is in the United Nations, and his work in this area. Now, we're gonna rewatch this video because I want you to see something very important that maybe, we need to watch it again, okay? So we're gonna watch it again. So please pay attention.
Or Ji Chen in Chinese. I'm a staff interpreter for the United Nations at its headquarters in New York. I work between two languages, my mother tongue Chinese and my second language English. I've been working for the UN since 2015, and prior to that I was a freelance interpreter servicing the specialized agencies of the UN based in Geneva. As a staff interpreter for the UN, we provide simultaneous interpretation service for UN meetings, conferences, and other events. An interpreter is first and foremost a linguist. He or she should have heightened linguistic sensitivity. And it goes without saying that they should have solid language skills in both the source and target languages. We need to show our passion for our profession, because without passion it's a boring commitment. But with passion, we can have a pleasure that provides the drive for our work. If I were to find an adjective to describe myself, the word would be wholehearted, and that's what I go by in my daily work. Interpretation is a job, it's a discipline, it's an art, but most importantly, it's also a pleasure to be enjoyed.
Okay, very good. So basically interpretation, it's a job, but it's something else than a job. It's art. So as he said, well, he has been doing this from a lot of time, and it's something that maybe you can believe or you can think that it's that maybe you can do it at any moment if it's required. But the thing is that you can do it if it's required. But the thing with this is that there are some requirements that you need to have. For instance, he works in the United Nations, but he also works with some prime ministers, some presidents that belong to their country. He's Chinese, so he has to speak Mandarin. But The thing is that sometimes, I don't know, I think. But I think that sometimes we take the challenges that doesn't belong to us. And let me tell you why. Let me give you context to just to understand this. Chinese people, they have several okay, Mandarin, it's, or you can divide it into like, well, you can divide it in a lot of languages. Why? Because each region, they have different or types of well, terminologies. And I know this because I know a few people that belong to China, and they explain me that at the moment that they go to another place in China, maybe that they have a different language that it's not, or it cannot be only or it cannot be written. So you cannot write the language. You can only communicate with your tongue. So if you see it in our perspectives, it's like, for instance, you are from Santiago. You know that some people in Santiago, they speak very different. Or if you're from yes, from Santiago, I think, yeah. And the way they speak, maybe for us, if they start speaking very fast, it can be very difficult to understand, because even their well, the old people, they speak more faster, and they speak with some terminologies that, well, we don't use. We're not going to use it. So it's like you start to do an interpretation to someone who speaks like this. What I'm trying to say is that at the moment that you do this interpretation, you need to do the best research of your life. Because yes, maybe you speak Spanish, but remember, Spanish can be divided into several well, languages. Okay, so I just want you to be aware of this, because if you have the opportunity to do consecutive or simultaneous interpretation, you have the opportunity to do it. Okay. So here we have the multilingual communication in global. We have corporation and multinational events. So there's a diverse linguistic backgrounds, but what we're trying to do is just to make an effective communication a formidable challenge. And our main goal is just to ensure that all individuals can be understood, okay, in their preferred language. Okay, so what we're trying just to do is just to be very inclusive and help people just to connect. Okay. Okay, so here we have 4 points. 4 points. And well, let me tell you something. I'm going to read it to you. Firstly, interpreters ensure that all participants have equal access to information and discussions. In global corporations, where critical decisions are made and strategies are developed, it is imperative that no one is left out due to language barriers. Let me tell you something. Let me give an example. Let's say that a person is here, he speaks German. and he's the only one who doesn't understand. You have to try to be inclusive with that person. Okay, you need to find a way. And if the person maybe understands a little bit of English, well, you have to try to give him the chance to understand what you're saying. Okay? So secondly, interpreters enhance the efficiency of communication. In multilingual settings, simultaneous interpretation, for example, ensures that the discussions flow smoothly and at a natural pace. This efficiency minimizes disruptions and allows for more productive interactions. Okay? Okay, 1 second. Let me just find something here. Okay, sorry. Okay, here we are. Okay, and thirdly, interpreters foster a sense of inclusion and belonging. When individuals can communicate in their preferred languages, they are more likely to feel valued and respected. Okay? So I know that maybe in this specific area, we can believe that it's difficult to to get to this goal. But the idea of this is just to give your best. So if you have the opportunity just to communicate with someone, well, you have to give their the chance just to do it. Because we know that everybody don't have the chance just to understand and learn languages. But you that have this shot that have the chance, well, you have to take it and give people enjoy this gift that you have. Lastly, interpreters play a vital role in ensuring that messages are accurately conveyed. Effective communications go beyond mere language translation. It involves capturing the nuances, tone, and cultural context and messages. Okay? So this means that effective communication needs to be your main key. Like, if you're doing this interpretation, remember, keep in mind your enthusiasm, your expression, the way that you speak, everything will play a big role. The tone of your words, and even the cultural context of what you're saying will play a huge role in your interpretation. Now, corporate interpretation and training. Interpreters are quite important in corporate presentations, training sessions, and workshops where participants come from diverse language speaking backgrounds. Their primary objective is to bridge linguistic gaps, making it possible for employees and stakeholders to access essential information and fully engage in learning and development opportunities. So I just want you to imagine, maybe, if you have the challenge the chance just to go to a big place. Okay, so you are in a big place, and in this place, you have the people ask you just to do the interpretation. You have to be prepared. And I know that maybe, as I said before, you can believe that this is not possible, but you have to be very prepared. Okay? Now, we can say that interpreters help ensure that critical information is accessible. And what is critical information? Well, critical information it's when let's say that the speaker is saying that at the moment that you leave the place, you need to take the exit that is at the back. But let's say that the person doesn't share the information like it's like a precise information. Let's say that he said tienen que salir por mi espalda. Everybody will say, okay, this is not correct. I don't think that the speaker is saying that you need to go by his back. So the idea is to be very accessible and precise. Also, you need to contribute to effective communication during the corporate events. So this reflects what I was saying. Your main goal is just to keep this communication and remain to what you were told to do. So you need to also support the inclusivity and engagement of the diverse participants. What does it mean? That even though the person is not of your like, or you don't you maybe you believe that it's not maybe you don't like him or you don't like her, but you need to be very open to the person and develop your engagement. So everybody should receive information in their native language. Okay, so this is part of the inclusive well the inclusive rule that everybody needs to apply. Also, interpreters need to enhance to overall quality of corporate events by facilitating QA sessions and effective discussions. Also, I recommend you to help organizations to meet their international and multicultural goals. Okay? So, the idea is just to have a big gathering in which everybody have the opportunity just to connect. And if someone doesn't have this opportunity, they need to have it. Okay? So right now we're gonna take a short break of 15 minutes. Okay? So we come back later and we'll start again. Okay? So in 15 minutes we come back. 15 minutes. En 15 minutos regresamos, vamos a tomar un break.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So let's continue with the explanation of the class. So we were saying that, just remember, that this is your second class of the module number 4. Okay, so it's important to remember this part. We're talking about the corporate representation and training. How you need to be prepared and develop a full engagement of the person that is also talking and listening. And dependent on the if the interpretation is simultaneous or consecutive, you have to do it in the best way that it's possible. Okay? So executive and VIP support through the assistance of interpreters, it's a vital service in the global business landscape. International executive and VIPs often find themselves in situations where effective communication is a requirement, and interpreters play a pivotal role in ensuring that their needs are met. These interpreters are not linguistically proficient, but also possess the cultural sensitivity and professionalism required to provide seamless support. If we start here, in the first one of the key functions of interpreters in executive and VIP support is to facilitate clear and accurate communication. So, for me, in my opinion, is that you need to have a clear and accurate communication between the VIP and their counterparts. Moreover, interpreters provide a level of comfort and confidence to VIPs when navigating unfamiliar linguistics and cultural terrain. So if there is any doubt in what you're interpreting, believe me, you are going to do what it's expected to do, which is facilitate communication. Interpreters in executive support also act as cultural liaisons. They are well versed in the custom etiquette and norms of the regions where the VIP is conducting business. Furthermore, interpreters provide real-time assistance during international travel, ensuring that the VIP can communicate effectively in various situations, from airport interactions to dining experiences. And the last one, executive and VIP support provided by interpreters is indispensable in today's globalized business world. Okay, so just to let you know, this the VIPs are the people that maybe it's invited. Okay, so it's your goal just to make them feel comfortable and very well. Actually, what you need to do is just to meet their goals. Okay. So here in conclusion, we can say that interpreters in business and corporate events must possess not only excellent language skills, but also a deep understanding. This means that if you think that there is something that you don't, maybe you don't know or you don't understand, stop. Try to interrupt whatever you're doing. And if you have your cell phone in your hand, you can check the information that is being developed or given, because we know and we understand that at the moment that you have to do this, there's a big knowledge that you need to have. Because without this, believe me, it's not possible just to give this. Okay. Now, I just want to talk to you about the activities for this week. Okay. Let me talk to you about the activities for this week. Just in a second. Okay. So I just want you to remember that's very important for you to connect to the classes. Because if you have any questions related to the class, I will answer you the questions, and well, I will be very open to answer you whatever question you have. So this week we have to do the test, and remember the icon is this one that has the notepad and the check, it's in green. So you have to do the test number 4. Okay. So this is the previous test to the last test. So we have, if I'm not wrong, we have 2 more classes, I think, if I'm not wrong. But this is the activity that you have for this week. Now, also, I wanted to show you something else. Remember that you are on module 4, okay? So on module 4, you will see all the activities. All the information about the test, it's going to be on the readings, okay? Reading number 1, reading number 2. Now, if you haven't done the activity number 1, remember that you need to do it. The activity number 1, which is this one. Also activity number 2, number 3, and number 4. In your case, you are going to do the module number 4. And if you are if you have nothing pending, you need to do only the test. Okay? Okay. 1 second. Okay, something else that I want to talk to you is that if you want to see maybe the recorded sessions, you can watch it here. Okay. Right now we don't have the record session for this week because, well, it's been just made right now or recorded. But at the moment that we finish here, you will have the information. Okay. And additional to this, let me show you this in 1 second. Okay, so we have here also the library, okay? So if you have anything that maybe you need to, you need to do an extra, you have the opportunity to see it on the library. You can check for information on the library, okay? And also, if you want to contact me, maybe you don't have the opportunity to connect here. Well, I'm gonna give you the opportunity just to connect here through the forum, okay? So if you have any questions or any doubt here, remember, you can text me and I will answer you immediately, okay? So this is all for today, guys. And I hope you can have a blessed evening, okay? Or morning or afternoon. Sería todo por hoy. Muchas gracias.
Ok, teacher, damos por finalizada la clase del día de hoy. Ok. Bueno, queridos amigos, no. Dándole las gracias a usted por darnos esta clase y bueno, y esperemos que los estudiantes lo puedan ver, no sé, en la mañana, tarde, noche, a la hora que sea apropiada. Deseándole éxito y una exitosa semana y una buena noche, teacher.
Listo, muchas gracias. Saludos, muchachos. Bye bye.